So, guys, a very big congratulations to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for defeating the federal government in court today. Now, listen, a lot of people will be asking me, how did he defeat the federal government? Now, pay attention. One of the worst things that could have actually happened to Nnamdi Kanu in this case is to open up this particular defense that the federal government and James Omotosho have been, forcing him to do. It was a very big trap. Now, let me tell you what happened in court today. When Nnamdi Kanu actually arrived, Justice James Omotosho now called him up to come and start his defense, because remember, Nnamdi Kanu actually, relieved his, lawyers and told his lawyers, step aside, let me actually, defend myself. There was a reason why he did that. Now, when he came up to the podium, the prosecution team, the federal government, and James Omotosho was expecting him to come with a witness, maybe call one or two witnesses that are going to stand in for him and start his defense. Nnamdi Kanu shocked them and actually, exposed a lot of trap, or the trap the federal government wanted to set for him. I'm going to explain everything to you. Just pay attention and listen to this particular narration. Now, Nnamdi Kanu said, I am not opening any defense. I am not going to open any defense. That after he went through the case file, remember, last Friday he told James Omotosho that he wants to go through the case file, then before he can actually open up his defense. He now told James Omotosho that after he opened up the case file during the weekend and read it with his lawyers and all that, that he has come to a conclusion, a reasonable conclusion, that he has no case to answer. And if he has no case to answer, that there is no point him bringing in any defense, that the federal government have been unable to substantiate and prove their charges or whatever thing. And most importantly, look at where the federal government wanted to set trap for him, that this particular case has no jurisdiction, that even James Omotosho, I'm going to explain, just calm down, that James Omotosho himself do not have even the local standing or the jurisdiction to try this particular case. Now let us now refer to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because what the federal government wants to do, and even in collaboration with even this James Omotosho, is that they want to make Nnamdi Kanu to enter into a defense, so that when the case of this particular jurisdiction comes up, they will say, they will not tell him, Shebi, you enter defense with your hand, and that means you are agreeing to the trial. Nnamdi Kanu now actually helped them today on their necks and told them that you don't have jurisdiction. Now let us see what the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria speaks about the illegal extraordinary rendition, because this is where the federal government is always trying to run away from. Whenever Nnamdi Kanu mentions the extraordinary rendition, the illegal extraordinary rendition, the federal government, tries to, deceive the presiding judge not to listen, because they know what the Constitution says. Now let us read from the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and what the Constitution says. In fact, you will see that Nnamdi Kanu has even gotten victory since 2021, because that is why the federal government do not want to talk about the extraordinary rendition which has been established. Now look at what the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria says. Let's read together, as you can see on the screen. Now, pay attention. This is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Say that it is treated, being extraordinary rendition, and that it is treated as inherently illegal because it violates constitutional guarantees of fundamental rights, the procedural safeguards of the Extradition Act, being Cap E25, Laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2004 as amended in 2019, and Nigeria's obligation under international human rights treaties. The courts, pay attention, this is the part that is very important, and this is the part that has actually, given kind of victory today, and that is why the federal government and James Omotosho are not even happy. They said that the courts have consistently ruled that such acts undermine the rule of law, rendering any subsequent trial or detention unlawful and voiding the acquiring court jurisdiction. This has summarized everything. This is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the courts have consistently ruled that illegal and extraordinary rendition makes any court in Nigeria to lack the jurisdiction to try the case. And again, he said that it's rendering any subsequent trial or detention unlawful. That if it has been established, if people should pay attention, and if it has been established, that you is illegally extradited someone, that it has rendered every court session, whatever thing you are doing, even his detention, unlawful. That means you don't have any right to detain someone that you illegally rendition from any country. This is a very simple law that, it is very direct, and when you apply it, it is very simple as ABCD. And this is where the federal government has been running away from. And even some of these judges, whenever you bring in the case of extraordinary rendition, they try to, shut Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer and Nnamdi Kanu up so that they can close it up so the world will not see what is actually happening. This is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Why not obey your Constitution? And what they wanted today to do is to make sure that Nnamdi Kanu starts his defense, so that this particular important, in fact, the cross of the matter being this extraordinary rendition will be waived off. And Nnamdi Kanu said, no, I know your tricks, I know your antics, because at the end of the day, if I immediately start this defense, you say, that means starting the defense means I agree to the trial. But Nnamdi Kanu said, no, that there is no trial for me unless you read this particular part of the Constitution that says that that if immediately it has been established that that the person is illegally extradited, that his detention, his trial is voided. That is, because he cannot build on illegality. Remember, I'm going to show you what the Supreme Court said. When Nigeria wants to play tricks, you understand. Remember that Justice Hanatu from Plateau State, I've kept on repeating her name today. Justice Hanatu from Plateau State in 2022 read this particular simple part of the Constitution, and she said this particular man has no case to answer. She discharged and acquitted Nnamdi Kanu of all the charges and told the federal government to release him from the DSS facility immediately. This particular part of the Constitution of Nigeria is very simple and boldly written. Now, when she did that, the federal government then was the Fulani Kabas led by Buhari, Gabashew, and those who had an intrinsic hatred for Nnamdi Kanu, and by extension, the Igbos, decided to violate that particular law that was given. They went to the Supreme Court. Now, pay attention to how the apex court in the country had to, contradict itself. When they went to the apex court being the Supreme Court of the land, confirmed that Nnamdi Kanu's extraordinary rendition was illegal. But look at what they said. That the court overturned this in being the 2022 judgment, allowing the trial to resume. It did not endorse the rendition's legality. How can the Supreme Court of the country, you did not endorse the legality of the rendition? That means you condemned the extraordinary rendition. Then, if you condemn something, what are the consequences for condemning it? You must draw conclusions from your own constitution. Instead of the Supreme Court to look at the constitution, what the constitution says about illegal and extraordinary rendition, they kept that part aside and said that the trial should continue again with Bintayanko then before he came to this particular James Omotosho. Does it make any sense? So does it make any sense? It's a very simple analogy. Number one, the Supreme Court established that what happened or what the Nigerian government did was illegal extraordinary rendition. Now, people are saying, okay, fine, you've established it. What are the consequences? What are the punishments? Because the Kenyan government equally penalized their own government for participating in the illegal rendition, which it has been established by Professor Lumumba, who defended Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya and got that victory. And the Kenyan government were penalized and they paid about 120 million and warned that they should not repeat itself. Now, Nigeria that actually participated in that, your own Supreme Court has also affirmed that it is illegal extraordinary rendition. Then what is the punishment for it? Instead of them to reference to the Constitution, which I've read earlier, which says that any trial, any detention that they are carrying out on someone that has been illegally renditioned is what? Is void. Is void. You cannot, as a matter of fact, continue your trial or probably try someone that has been illegally renditioned to the country. So that is why I am saying that Nnamdi Kanu has actually gotten victory. Now the reason is this: Nnamdi Kanu is insisting that the federal government must actually obey the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and everything that the Constitution says about illegal extraordinary rendition. In fact, that is the crux of the matter. That is where Nnamdi Kanu's victory lies. He cannot build on illegality, which is the truth. You must. Law works with foundation, step by step. You first of all check out the first step. Is the first step 40? If the first step is 40, you cannot build on a 40 foundation because everything will collapse, which is what is actually happening in this particular case. The federal government have wanted to build on illegality so they can see if they can use this illegality to convict this particular man. But the foundation is 40, and that is the foundation that the Kanu has been actually fighting against. The foundation of his illegal extraordinary rendition, or unless it has been addressed that he's not going to open up any defense. They wanted to set a trap for him today. He made the mistake of opening up his defense today, or probably any day, the Nigerian federal government will come and tell him that since he has opened up his defense, that means he is in support of the case, that he is in support of the trial. So he understood the game. Remember, on Friday, when he raised this issue of jurisdiction, James Omotosho wanted to shut him up, telling him that they've passed that particular stage, that they're not going to go back to that particular stage. So why James Omotosho was doing that is to shut him up so that he can immediately open his defense, so that they can now say, okay, you supported the trial. But now that Nnamdi Kanu is insisting that unless the foundation is being, that is how law court works. He can't overlook important matters and try to create a trial upon illegality. So Nnamdi Kanu said no. I've read that the constitution of what the Nigerian constitution says. This is not my constitution. This is the constitution of the land. So Nnamdi Kanu said I'm not. So when James Omotosho heard what Nnamdi Kanu said today, he was angry because he knew, and the prosecution team in the federal government were angry because they were shocked that Nnamdi Kanu understood their game and antics. So James Omotosho said, Nnamdi Kanu, go and consult criminal experts to understand the implications of what you just did. that what they will now do is that they will take it as if that he does not want to open his defense, and he will now, that he should come and submit his written address, and immediately he submits his written address, that him, being James Omotosho, is going to give his final judgment. That now the Kanu should go and reconsider. He should go and consult criminal experts or law experts for them to advise him if he is going to continue with this in defense or not. But like I said, told you, what they are trying to do is to compel and force him to follow them in building on illegality, because at the end of the day, they will say, "She, you followed us to build on this illegality." So James Omotosho, consequently, after he saw that Nnamdi Kanu has refused to open up his defense, he now postponed. So he now adjourned the case and the proceedings to 4th and 5th and 6th of November, being next month. That should be around next week, to allow for the final written arguments to be presented. This decision follows the defendant's claim that neither the evidence presented nor the charges have proven any case against him, prompting a consideration of whether he needs to present a defense. So you can see, Nnamdi Kanu said, James Omotosho said, see, on the 4th, 5th, and 6th of November, make sure you submit your final written address that I'm going to give my final judgment. Let us see how he's going to give a final judgment. How are you ignoring one part of the constitution? It can't be on illegality. The law works with technicalities, and it's a very simple something. The first step of actually bringing this particular man, he's a kidnapped victim. It has been established. Soyinka and a whole lot of people have said this man is a kidnapped victim. He remains a kidnapped victim in your land. Because one, you illegally kidnapped him from Kenya, which has been established by the anger is that a lot of people have established it. The Kenyan court, the Supreme Court. So what does the Nigerian law? He can't, ignore that one. He can't ignore what is the punishment for the violation of his right and the violation of this particular constitution of Nigeria. What is the punishment? Because whatever law you break, there are consequences. And the consequences, which I've stipulated earlier in this particular video, is that you number one, you will not try him. You will not try anybody that you illegally rendition to the country. Number two, you would not even detain someone that you've illegally rendition to the country. That means you don't even have any right to hold him, try him, or do anything. Carry him the way you renditioned him and back to where you actually caught him from. A very simple analogy, a very simple thing, which is what the federal government, which is what the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria states. It's not like I'm quoting my constitution, neither is it that I'm quoting Nnamdi Kanu's constitution or Igbo's constitution. This is the Constitution of Nigeria as it stands. So why are you ignoring that part of the constitution? Many people are saying Nnamdi Kanu should open up with defense. They just wanted to drag him along. So